Worries that the global economy could enter a downturn this year continues to weigh heavily on stock markets. This week, the dollar was largely higher as US President Joe Biden confirmed his bid to run for re-election. This weekend, the rand more than 1% against the stronger dollar, with the rand trading at 18.37 rand to the dollar at some point. The South African economy continues to languish in a crisis which is now becoming more critical to keep key sectors of the economy afloat. However, economists suggest that the South African government should revisit the fiscal interventions aimed at relieving the pressures on consumers. Professor Bonke Dumisa, an economist, joins me from Durban for more on this. Thank you very much for giving us your time.
Good evening to you and your viewers all over the continent.
A very good evening to you. It seems South Africa's economy is getting deeper into a crisis, with load shedding a contributing driver. How much worse can things get before they get better?
Unfortunately, I wish I could say it's not going to get worse, but as things stand as it is now, it is going to get worse. What makes things even more difficult is that many of us were very hopeful when the position of a Minister of Electricity was announced, and we had all the praises for the person who was appointed to that position. However, we hear that there are rumors, it's not yet confirmed, that there is some rivalry amongst the three ministers responsible for electricity, one Pravin Gordhan for public enterprises, one Gwede Mandashe responsible for energy, and the new minister. And because of this squabbling, the president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, has not yet officially given the delegations of authority to the new minister of electricity. And hence he cannot really do his job. And that is what is going to make the electricity thing worse, whereas we thought that by appointing him, we were going to be able to move from this stage 8, stage 7, stage 6 of the rolling load shedding, because it is affecting and destroying businesses in South Africa.
So what is stopping the president from giving him the powers he requires?
Here in South Africa, everything is political. And so, unfortunately, the president, I'm one person who avoids just joining the bandwagon of people who criticize him. But there are many instances where he becomes very indecisive. And this is one of those issues, because there are political untouchables. We hear that one of these other two ministers who were there before refuses to give up the current powers he has, and without relinquishing some of those powers to the new Minister of Energy, nothing can happen. Of course, the other thing is you have poor governance. The reason why Eskom is where it is that for a long time, not just in the past 8 years, but for a long time, people who are at Eskom, starting from the top executives to the trade unions to the staff members, there's been a lot of corruption and collusive behaviors where you have internal stakeholders who actively sabotage Eskom because they benefit from that. And those, many of them are untouchables because they provide the voting masses. So to solve the Eskom problems, you need political will to be decisive and solve it once and for all.
What steps? We know there is a lot of political issues on the ground, and that is very instrumental to solving the problems. But what steps in the interim can be taken to ease the strain on the citizens, particularly those who are most vulnerable?
With that problem is the challenge we have, or the challenge that the government has on how to come up with interventions to protect the most financially vulnerable, is that the national budget in February was very transparent, and the Minister of Finance tried his best to have a very prudent budget. And already we have a major budget deficit. So if ever more money is allocated to helping the vulnerable, what is likely to happen is that you will end up with more government expenditures, whereas they are already too high. And that may push up the debt to GDP levels.
Yeah, it seems okay.
Yes.
It looks like you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, in however you look at it. But there is some...
Yes, it's a catch-22 situation. And if the government tries to be nice to the vulnerable, it may end up having the international credit rating agencies saying the South African government is overspending and push us even deeper into junk status where we already are.
All right. I'm afraid that's where we'll have to end it for now. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking with us.
Thank you.